A few months ago, I met a woman named Helen. She was 73, bright-eyed and kind, but her relationship with food was full of quiet fear. During our first visit, she told me something I've heard too many times before. "I don't touch fruit anymore. Too much sugar," she said, gently pushing away a bowl of sliced apples in my office. I asked her when she'd stopped eating fruit. She thought for a moment, then said, "After my diabetes diagnosis, my doctor said cut the sugar, so I cut everything that tasted sweet." That included apples, oranges, pears, even berries. Foods that once brought her comfort and color were now seen as threats. But as I looked at her plate and her lab results, something didn't add up. Her diet was strict, but her energy was low. Her glucose still fluctuated, and her joy at mealtime had vanished. I'm Dr. Jonathan. For the past 25 years, I've walked alongside thousands of older adults living with diabetes. And one of the biggest misconceptions I see, again and again, is this: that all sweetness must be feared. The truth is far more hopeful. Some of the sweetest fruits in nature, the ones that smell like childhood, that crunch or melt or burst with flavor, are also packed with fiber, antioxidants, and compounds that actively help stabilize blood sugar. When eaten the right way, at the right time, they don't cause spikes. They help prevent them. Helen didn't need more rules. She needed reassurance that her body could still enjoy sweetness, without guilt or danger. And today, I want to offer you the same. Because 5 of the most common fruits that many seniors have unfairly avoided, might be the very foods your body is quietly asking for. Not only do they satisfy cravings, they also support better blood sugar control, improve digestion, and offer vital nutrients your body needs with age. Let me show you what I shared with Helen. We'll begin with a fruit that's been wrongly blamed for years, even though it may be one of your best allies. Let's talk about apples. Helen looked skeptical when I handed her a crisp red apple during one of our follow-up visits. "You're sure about this?" she asked, holding it gently like it might betray her. I smiled. "Completely, but only if you promise to chew slowly and enjoy it." It's a conversation I've had countless times. Apples are often misunderstood by people with diabetes. They taste sweet. They're full of natural sugar. And because of that, many seniors assume they're off limits. But the truth is, apples are one of the most blood sugar-friendly fruits you can eat if you eat them whole, with the skin on and at the right time. Here's why. Apples contain a type of soluble fiber called pectin. This fiber forms a gel-like substance in your gut that slows down the absorption of glucose into your bloodstream. In other words, instead of flooding your body with sugar, an apple helps deliver it gradually, giving your system time to respond more gently. But that's just the beginning. Apples are also rich in polyphenols, plant compounds that have been shown to improve insulin sensitivity and reduce inflammation. One large study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that people who ate apples regularly had a significantly lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes. And it's not just about the sugar. It's about balance. When Helen began incorporating half an apple after her lunch, paired with a small handful of almonds, something shifted. Her afternoon sugar crashes became less frequent. She felt more satisfied, less tempted by processed sweets, and even began looking forward to that simple moment of crunch and flavor. "It makes me feel normal again," she told me. "Like I'm not fighting my food anymore." And that's exactly what I hope for every patient. A way to reconnect with food in a way that feels joyful, not fearful. Apples provide that opportunity. They're easy to find, affordable, portable, and filled with nutrients your aging body still depends on. Just remember this: whole apples are what we're talking about. Not juice, not applesauce with added sugar. The real thing, with the skin, chewed slowly and appreciated fully. Now that we've reclaimed one of the most iconic fruits in the world, Let's move to something smaller. They may be tiny, but their impact on blood sugar is enormous. Let's talk about berries. Helen's curiosity grew after apples became part of her routine. "So what about berries?" she asked one afternoon. "I always loved them, but I stopped buying them. They just seem too sweet." It's a common concern, and one I always enjoy addressing. Because if there's a group of fruits that prove sweetness can be healing, it's berries. Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries. Each one is packed with natural color, delicate flavor, and most importantly, potent nutrients that support blood sugar stability. Despite their sweet taste, berries have an incredibly low glycemic index. That means they raise blood sugar slowly and gently, not sharply. But the real magic lies in their antioxidant power. Berries are rich in compounds called anthocyanins. These give them their beautiful red, blue, and purple hues. But anthocyanins do much more than look pretty. Research shows they reduce inflammation, improve insulin response, and help glucose enter the cells more efficiently. One large study from the Harvard School of Public Health even found that people who regularly consumed blueberries had a significantly lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes. I shared this with Helen and encouraged her to try half a cup of fresh or frozen berries a day, preferably with breakfast or a mid-afternoon snack. She started sprinkling blueberries onto her plain yogurt and stirring raspberries into warm oatmeal. Within a few weeks, her blood sugar patterns began to flatten out. Even more importantly, she said her sugar cravings in the afternoon nearly disappeared. "It's like my body feels satisfied earlier," she said. "I don't reach for the cookies anymore." Berries also provide dietary fiber, especially in the seeds and skins, which slows digestion and helps maintain steady energy. They're easy to chew, gentle on digestion, and don't require peeling or slicing. For seniors with arthritis or fatigue, that simplicity can make a real difference. And if fresh berries aren't always available, frozen ones work just as well. Just be sure they're unsweetened and free of syrups. I often tell my patients that berries are nature's candy, but with a built-in safety net. They satisfy the desire for sweetness while nourishing the body with compounds that actually help control that sweetness from the inside out. So if you've been avoiding berries, thinking they're too indulgent, consider this your invitation to bring them back to your table. Your blood sugar may thank you. Next, let's turn to a fruit that's often forgotten, yet deeply grounding. It's soft, juicy, and full of fiber. Let's talk about pears. After finding comfort in berries, Helen told me she missed another fruit from her childhood. "My grandmother used to keep ripe pears in a bowl by the window. They smelled like sunshine," she said with a nostalgic smile. "But I haven't touched one in years." That's when I suggested we bring them back into her life. Carefully, intentionally, and with full awareness of their benefits. Pears are often overlooked in conversations about diabetes, probably because they're so subtle. They don't demand attention. But sometimes, it's the quietest fruits that offer the most support. Pears have a low glycemic index, usually between 30 and 38, which means they raise blood sugar very slowly. That's thanks in large part to their impressive fiber content. A medium pear contains about 6 grams of fiber, much of it in the skin. This helps slow digestion, reduce glucose absorption, and keep you feeling fuller longer. But there's more to pears than fiber. They're also rich in flavonols and chlorogenic acid, natural plant compounds that have been shown to improve insulin sensitivity and reduce oxidative stress. Some studies even suggest that regular pear consumption may help lower the risk of type 2 diabetes. I advised Helen to try adding half a pear to her lunch, sliced thin and served with a bit of low-fat cheese or a handful of walnuts. This pairing added protein and healthy fat to further steady her blood sugar. What she noticed first wasn't just better glucose control, but improved digestion. "It's so gentle," she said. "I don't feel bloated, and I don't feel that energy dip afterward. Pears are also incredibly hydrating, which is especially important for older adults who often don't drink enough water. Their juicy texture helps support bowel regularity and keeps things moving comfortably through the digestive tract. The key is to eat them ripe but not overly soft, with the skin on whenever possible. That's where much of the fiber and nutrients live. And like with most fruits, moderation matters. One small to medium pear per day is plenty. For Helen, pears became more than just food. They became a symbol of permission. Permission to enjoy sweetness again, gently and wisely. Next, let's explore a fruit that most seniors avoid, simply because of its reputation for being sugary. But when eaten whole, it may surprise you with its healing potential. Let's talk about oranges. When Helen and I first discussed oranges, she looked unsure. "Aren't they full of sugar?" she asked. I thought citrus was off limits. It's a concern I hear often, especially from older adults who've spent years avoiding anything that tastes sweet. And it's true. Orange juice can be a blood sugar bomb. But the whole fruit? That's a different story entirely. I explained to Helen that an average orange has a glycemic index between 40 and 45. That means it causes a gentle, moderate rise in blood sugar, not a sharp spike. The key is eating the whole orange, including the fibrous pulp, which slows down the absorption of sugar and supports digestion. Even more impressive are the natural plant compounds hidden inside. Oranges are rich in vitamin C, but they also contain powerful flavonoids like hesperidin and naringenin. These compounds help reduce inflammation, improve insulin sensitivity, and protect blood vessels from oxidative damage. In one study published in the journal Diabetes Care, researchers found that people who consumed whole citrus fruits regularly had better blood pressure control, improved fasting glucose levels, and stronger metabolic resilience overall. I encouraged Helen to try eating a small orange after her midday meal, not as a snack on an empty stomach, but as part of a balanced plate with protein and healthy fats. She started pairing orange segments with a few almonds or slices of avocado toast. The results were noticeable. She told me, "It gave me a burst of energy, but without the crash I used to get from juice or sugary snacks. And I stopped feeling guilty about enjoying something sweet." Oranges also offer hydration, something many seniors overlook. Their juicy texture helps replenish fluids while adding a refreshing finish to a meal. For those who struggle with constipation or irregular digestion, that extra moisture can be a quiet relief. One important note is to avoid store-bought orange juices and flavored drinks. They may say natural, but they often contain added sugars or are stripped of fiber. Stick to the whole fruit, fresh and unprocessed, and let your body receive the full benefit nature intended. Helen now keeps a few oranges in a bowl near her window, much like the pears she once remembered from childhood. And every time she eats one, it feels less like a risk and more like a reward. Now, let's move on to the final fruit. It's small, bright green, and slightly tart, but it might just be one of the most powerful tools for steadying blood sugar. Let's talk about kiwis. When Helen finally felt confident with oranges, she leaned in during one of our visits and asked, "What about those fuzzy green fruits? I used to love them, but haven't had one in years. Are they safe?" She was talking about kiwis. And I smiled, because I knew what was coming next. Kiwis are one of the most underrated fruits when it comes to blood sugar control. Small, vibrant, and slightly tart, they often get overlooked in favor of more familiar fruits. But beneath that fuzzy skin lies a treasure trove of nutrients that make them an exceptional choice for seniors with diabetes. A single kiwi contains only about 10 grams of carbohydrate, and thanks to its high fiber content, its glycemic index stays remarkably low, around 50. That means it won't spike blood sugar the way other tropical fruits might. In fact, The unique combination of soluble fiber and enzymes in kiwi helps slow digestion and improve gut health, both critical for managing glucose. One standout compound in kiwis is actinidin, a natural enzyme that supports protein digestion. This makes it a great companion fruit after meals, especially for older adults who may have slower or more sensitive digestion. Kiwis are also rich in vitamin C, even more so than oranges in many cases. But unlike most acidic fruits, they deliver that vitamin C in a gentle, stomach-friendly way, with added antioxidants like lutein and zeaxanthin that protect the eyes, a huge plus for anyone at risk of diabetic retinopathy. I encouraged Helen to try half a kiwi with her breakfast, sliced over a small bowl of oats or paired with Greek yogurt. She was hesitant at first. The texture was unfamiliar again, but by the end of the week, she called it her new morning pick-me-up. "It's bright, it wakes me up," she said, "and I haven't had those heavy post-breakfast dips since I started." One thing I remind all my patients: don't toss the skin too quickly. While it's a bit fuzzy, the skin is edible and packed with fiber. If you're comfortable, give it a try, or simply wash and peel it thinly to keep as much of the outer layer as possible. Kiwis may be small, but their impact is mighty. They offer a burst of flavor, a boost in nutrients, and a helping hand to your blood sugar, all in just a few bites. And with that, we've explored 5 sweet, simple fruits that can gently support your health without fear. Now let's wrap it all together. By the end of our journey together, Helen wasn't just eating fruit again. She was enjoying it. Apples with almond butter in the afternoon, berries swirled into her yogurt, a pear with lunch, a juicy orange after her walk, and a kiwi to brighten her morning. But more than that, she felt free. Free from the fear that had once made her food feel like the enemy. Free from the guilt that had drained the joy from her meals. Free from the myth that living with diabetes means living without pleasure. And her numbers reflected it. Her blood sugar was steadier, her energy more consistent, her digestion more comfortable, her smile brighter. What I want every senior to know is this: sweetness doesn't have to disappear from your life just because your blood sugar is high. The key is knowing where to find the kind of sweetness that heals rather than harms. Whole fruits, chosen carefully and eaten mindfully, are one of the simplest ways to nourish your body without triggering a sugar storm. Their fiber, antioxidants, and water content work together to steady your system and restore your sense of balance. If you've been afraid of fruit, I hope this has shown you a better way. A more hopeful way. One that allows you to reconnect with foods that once brought you comfort without compromising your health. Because every bite you take is a chance to feed your body and your spirit. So the next time you see a crisp apple, a bowl of berries, or a soft golden pear, don't walk away. Pick it up, smell it, slice it, enjoy it. Your body is wiser than you think. It's not asking you to give up sweetness. It's asking you to find it in the right places.